Everybody wants a deal, right? I mean, everyone wants a deal when they're buying a car, when they're buying lunch, when they're drinking a nice hot coffee from the coffee shop, who did not sponsor today's video, but if they want to, that would be great. But when it comes to a home, where can you get a deal in the Phoenix, Arizona market? And that would be nowhere because there are no deals. The end. Well, sort of. Now we have to understand what is a deal to me may not be a deal to you. So today I'm going to talk about what a deal actually looks like, and again what that may mean for the future for the Arizona housing market. Welcome back to the channel. It's Rich Brecklin, your Arizona real estate agent. Again, if you're looking to make a move here, reach out to me. My contact info is in the description, or send me a message direct on Instagram. Love answering messages there. So let's get into this. What is a deal? What does that look like? Now, I almost want to forget about the last 2 years. I can't do that, but we're looking at home prices, and a lot of people are thinking crash and talking about the market falling out, and they're comparing it to the peak of COVID times. And I feel like a lot of people complained, and I get it, when home prices were going up, and for some, buying a home became unattainable and unaffordable because of just the competition there was in the real estate world. And now home prices have fallen from then, and people are still upset. They're like, oh, it's going to crash, and I can't buy one now. Now, again, what is it going to crash from? Pretend we got rid of the last 2 years, and we're just at the price that we are now. And we're looking at the 2019 prices, even into the first half of 2020. Would it be a crash back, or would it be like, oh my gosh, we've appreciated so much? But if you're looking at the peak we hit and where we've fallen from, I think a lot of people are thinking, oh, it's doomsday. But you know, don't misunderstand this. Is we are still very expensive compared to pre-pandemic levels. And I hate even saying pre-pandemic, but that's what it was, and that's what kind of kickstarted this whole frenzy of low interest rates and lack of housing. And speaking of rates, here is where we are today. So 30-year fix, we're at a 6.44. Not bad compared to where we were last week, which we were just above 6.6. And then 15, 5.88. Not a lot of people doing 15-year mortgages right now. For my clients who are in the jumbo category, which has been more and more lately, believe it or not, you are at a 5.95. Now, again, depending on who your lender is for jumbo, the good thing is you're not going to have PMI, and you don't have to put 20% down. So if you're a jumbo buyer and looking at that price point, 10% down and no PMI is a good thing. 5-1 ARM, you're insane if you call me about that. 30-year FHA, 5.91. Again, another great for the FHA buyers. And 30-year VA at 5.93. So my VA clients, again, they love taking advantage of that. It's zero down. Especially when we get closing cost assistance, buy down that rate even further, or having literally zero out of pocket to buy a home. I mean, you absolutely cannot beat that. So the title of this video, like I mentioned, is where to get a deal. And again, a deal compared to what? Because if you're looking at deal, if you're just woke up in a coma and you went to bed in 2019, 2020, and I'm telling you these are deals, you're going to tell me I'm absolutely out of my mind. But if you're trying to buy in the peak of 2022, around May, June, when prices are at the absolute highest before we start to see an interest rate increase, well, these may look like deals to you. However, it's not really going to be the deal you think. You're not going to come in and buy a home necessarily for just below what the market dictates is worth. Now, I'm not saying you can't buy a home for much less than what they're asking, because there are some sellers out there, and I just got off the phone with one, who are absolutely insane when it comes to what they think their home is worth. I think some of those sellers have been asleep for a little while and don't understand that, yeah, you can't just throw a sign in the yard to put any price you want and it is going to sell. So we're going to start with Chandler. A lot of my clients are interested in Chandler, have bought in Chandler, the Silicon Valley of the desert, huge tech focus in Chandler, despite what's going on with Intel. But right now, the Cromford Market Index is up to a 222.9, up from a 179 and a 102 from last quarter. Now again, CMI above 100, sellers market, below 100, buyers market. So not really necessarily you're going to get a deal there. And right now, average monthly sales price, 598, right around 6, down from last month. So you're down a little bit, but it is up from last quarter and down again from last year, but up from 2 years ago. Now, if we're looking at median, again, around 510, up from, but down from last quarter, but well below where we were a year ago. So if you're looking at deal compared to where a year ago, a lot of these places would be a deal. But again, 2 years ago, not quite a deal. So if you're looking in Chandler, again, I would not consider a deal being something I would look for there, because listing success rate is at 83.7%, and your average list to sales price right now is at 97.8%. Now, this isn't talking about original lists, and we're seeing more and more sellers, thankfully, understand the price they have may not be the right price, and they're having to reduce that price. So this is off of, the price it took for it to go under contract. Now, sometimes it may be the original price, and sometimes it may not. But let's head over to one of my favorite markets, because it's the area I live in, and that is Gilbert. So a lot of trending upward numbers for Gilbert. Month supply of inventory is 1.4, and it is taking around 81 days to sell the home in Gilbert, a little bit below our average here in Phoenix Metro. And your listing success rate, again, right around 80%. Well improved from where it was at 60 last quarter. Now, 65% is considered normal or balanced. Above that is great for sellers. Below is not great for sellers. And we did start to see that trend in a market where it dropped below 60%. And I saw a huge opportunity there, and then it turned around. So sellers, you should be happy we're seeing that. We're seeing more buyer demand, because rates have kind of stabilized and inventory has also pulled back. Now, when you look at your CMI in Gilbert, you are at 168.7, up from 138, but still well below where. So is it a deal in Gilbert? Because the average house in Gilbert is around 613,000, up from last month, down from last quarter, but it is nice, about 50 grand down from a year ago, but you're up around 85 from 2 years ago. And median, again, around 530. So again, not somewhere I would consider a deal. So this whole video is me telling you that you're not going to get a deal, but I want to show you some of these, the hotter markets. Paradise Valley, ultra luxury. I mean, your average sales price is $4 million there. That is, when you talk luxury, that is somewhere you can't put it in the same conversation with everyone else, because the metrics and the data is so different in how that operates. So we're not even going to touch on that as much. But Queen Creek, now this is an area I think I would consider a deal, because Queen Creek also has some parts of Santan Valley. If you're not familiar with Queen Creek, it is next to Gilbert, southeast of Phoenix. So if you're a buyer looking in Queen Creek, I think you're going to have more opportunity here. Even though the listing success rate is 80.4%, but there's also quite a few homes that have been sitting on the market because they did not price it right. Those are the type of sellers that I'm trying to go after and get a deal, a bargain, because they felt the pain of not selling. You're going to have more opportunity there with those clients or those sellers to get home money off of their list price or a concession. And the CMI in Queen Creek is at 84.7. So on paper, buyer's market there. However, it is up from last month and last quarter, but as you can see, down from a year and 2 years ago. But again, your average sales price still around 538. Last year, it was at 551. But if you're looking for a deal, Queen Creek may be a spot that you check out. Now we're going to head to the West Valley in Goodyear. And again, I've covered a lot of videos on Goodyear, specifically the great area of EMR, Estrella Mountain Ranch. So can you get a deal in Goodyear? Again, depends on what you consider a deal. If you can get a nice home for under 500, you're in a good spot. I mean, that's the average price right now, has gone down to 496. Your median is your median is 465, has dropped slightly, but your CMI right there is pretty much as balanced as you can get. So you may find some properties there, an opportunity where you can get a deal. Again, your listing success rate still above normal at 75.8%. trending upward from last month and last quarter. Not a whole lot of your typical deals, at least not what most people think. However, a lot of clients have used, properties listed by Open Door and OfferPad and the iBuyers, which have really slowed down, what they were buying, almost I want to say to a halt. But I mean, Zillow got out of the iBuying business altogether. But Open Door, for example, in February they sold 300 homes. I'm sorry, 299 to be exact, and they had a median loss of $56,500 per home. Now, that was a trend that started in August where they were losing money on every home. And I think the most home money they lost was 67,000 per home, 287 sold, and that was in November. And I went through a lot of the Open Door homes that were listed, and I saw their list price, their original list, and what they actually purchased the home for. And it took me a long time before I found one that actually made money. So if you're looking to get a quote unquote deal, reach out to me and I can get you a whole list of the Open Door homes. And then that might be a good bet if you're looking for, again, that deal. I know a lot of people think, well, why aren't there deals? Rates have gone up. There's a lot more inventory on the market. And, things have changed quite a bit from where it was. And you're right. There is more inventory on the market. Rates have gone up, but supply and demand. So even though rates have gone up, there's still not enough homes on the market for the buyers right now. And I'm not saying that won't change, but for right now, there's simply enough buyer demand. I'm not saying great buyer demand, but enough buyer demand to keep the market moving forward and on paper become a seller's market simply because we don't have enough homes. And even though there have been some hiccups and layoffs in the tech field and just that industry altogether and more corporate layoffs, but we still have a strong migration flow into Phoenix Metro. Now, this right here shows the pattern of where people are moving from. And leading the way is, California residents. LA, 23.4%, the Seattle area, 17, the Bay Area, 6, Chicago area, 5.8. Now, this is some numbers I've been paying attention to for a while over the last few years of, where the migration patterns are, where people are coming from, and also where we're losing money to, where people are moving from Phoenix and to go elsewhere. But I look at this data, and I have clients who are in the process of moving here or who have moved here in the last 8 months from all of these locations. Even some great clients from Canada over the last few months have reached out and moved to Phoenix. So I'm just one agent, and that's what I'm seeing. So on a whole much larger scale, it's just bringing more and more people, more and more money into Phoenix Metro. And perhaps these prices here that seem unaffordable to many, well, they're a discount to others. I was just talking to another person in California, and they were talking about how cheap it is to live here. But then I was talking to someone else who lives here, and they were talking about how expensive homes are. So it's all relative of what it is you're used to and your budget. So that is where we're at. If you're looking for a cheap house, I'm sorry, we don't have them now. Who knows what the future may hold. But if you're looking to make the move, reach out. My contact info is below, and I'll see you on the next.